finally watched Squid Game, and guys, my life has never remained the same. I'm scared. I feel sick. Oh my god. That movie, series, whatever. Oh my god, guys, it's scary. Yes, it's scary in a not so horrible way, but it's just enough to give you goosebumps. Yes, whilst you're watching it, it's enough to give you goosebumps, because the truth is you don't know what's gonna happen next. So it's like, oh my god, is this central character gonna die? Oh my god, what's gonna happen next? Guys, you know what, on this video I'm gonna be spilling the tea about the games. I'm gonna be trying my best to analyze all the games that was played in the series Squid Games. All right, but before I do so, let me first of all welcome all of you back to my YouTube channel. You are welcome. My name is Glory Elijah, and this is Frankly Speaking with Glory. I am the girl with the tea. Yes, and you know how we do it here, guys. This is just another amazing movie review from one of Netflix blockbuster series collection. Yeah. Squid Game is that series on Netflix that I would totally recommend to everybody that is above the age of 18. And if you do not have a phobia for bloodshed, yes, for gross bloodied images, I would totally recommend that series to you to watch. Guys, it is totally interesting. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. There's a lot of take homes for you guys, to be very frank with you all. And trust me, if you are one of those people that operates in the corporate world, trust me, Squid Game is totally for you. There's a lot of lessons to be learned. And another fun fact is I am Nigerian, so of all the games that was played on that series, I think only one kind of happens over here in Nigeria. I'm talking about the Tug of War. But let me not be too hasty to jump the line to the Tug of War game. Yes, I'm going to start from the beginning of all the games that were played on Squid Game and just give you guys a bit of my own analysis of what I think about each and every one of the games. And let's just start. Personally, the games in the series did not start with the popular red light, green light game. Nah. It actually started off with the game the recruiter played with player 456, or if you want to call his real name, Ji-hoon, at the train station. That game was called Dakje. I don't know if I got the pronunciation correctly, but that was where the game started for me, guys. Now, Dakje was simply two players trying to use their tapered envelope, yes, to flip the other's envelope on the floor. Now, if you fail, you receive a hot slap. And if you successfully flip your partner's envelope, you totally get 100,000 won. As easy as that game looked, it was very difficult, because Ji-hoon sure did chop a lot of slaps. And guys, it wasn't funny at all. His face was all looking red. But at the end of it all, I particularly loved the reward of that, because the beginning of the series, it showed us a man who was living with his mother in poverty, abject poverty, you know, and was also battling with custody of his daughter. So guys, I was kind of really excited when Ji-hoon actually won that 100,000 won. For me, okay, that was him getting a moment, you know, to breathe, the breather from all of his gambling sprees, from all of his struggles, into making some quick cash. Now guys, the second game, or should I say the first game of the actual Squid series that started officially, was the red light, green light. Strangely enough, with the red light, green light game, to be very frank with you all, it wasn't even the fact that the players had to run and stop at the sound of the doll's voice. Nah, it wasn't even that. It was actually the ominosity that surrounded the song that the doll was singing. That was the scary part for me, guys, to be very frank with you. After watching Squid Game, I have been trying to shut my mind off that music. That music is so scary, very scary. And also it's scarier for me because you're thinking about the number of people that get shot when they missed the red light, you know, for them to stop. So that #1 game, guys, it was actually really scary for me. And it was the eye-opener of the movie, seeing how many people got killed, seeing how many people got shot, just for, first of all, taking the game as a joke, and then second of all, not knowing when to stop in their tracks. The second game, PUBG, is a game of shapes that were made out of diagonal candy. Guys, I don't know if I'm getting these pronunciations correct, yes, but I'm just doing my best. Anyways, these shapes are made out of, should I say, melted sugar and turned into candy. Now there's the circle, there's triangle, there's star, and then there's the umbrella shape. Guys, the umbrella shape is the most difficult shape. What's interesting part of that particular game was how player 456 was able to play his way out of the game. Who would have thought that to actually remove the sides of the shape, you would have to lick it, melt the candy with your spittle from your tongue to ensure that it was melted enough for you to detach it from the actual shape. And guys, that was the trick, the technique that Ji-hoon actually applied to that candy, and he emerged the only player possessing that umbrella shape that was able to actually completely detach that shape from the rest of the shards without actually breaking it. Guys, that was genius if you ask me. And it just goes to show that sometimes it's not always the smartest looking person in the room that actually gets it right. Sometimes even the nerd in the room, or the person that comes across as being very, very stupid, sometimes has a way around situations. But we're not going to dwell on all of that morals. We could talk about it on another video. Moving on, let's talk about the third game, Tug of War. Guys, I've actually seen people play Tug of War before, but I never really knew that there were actual rules guiding playing that game. I never knew that there were techniques to playing Tug of War and actually winning your opposing team. Guys, you see player 001, the old man who at the end turned out to be the one who created the Squid Game. Guys, that man is very, very wise. You know, when people were actually choosing their teams, a lot of people were running to join teams that had the strongest men. People even refused at some point to have the female players in their team, thinking that the female players are going to be very, very weak. But what people did not really understand, you know, amongst the players was that Tug of War was not about strength alone. It was also about having people who are very, very smart, people who are very, very strategic, and people who are team players who will listen to each other. Guys, the old man's explanation about how to play Tug of War, for me, that was the highlight of the series for me. Now, for copyright issues, I won't be able to play the entire scene, yes, of how the old man's team was able to win that particular Tug of War game. So what I would just encourage you guys to do is go ahead and watch the series on Netflix. Trust me, you better enjoy it than me explaining how they played the Tug of War. The game of marbles. Now, this was one particular game in the series that got me to tears. Yes, this game got me in my feelings. It got me really emotional because quite a lot of things happened. Quite a lot of key players on the series actually died in this particular game. The rules of the game was actually simple. Yes, there was no rules to be broken. Yes, I mean, players were to agree with each other on the kind of game to play to ensure that they got all the, I think, 10 marbles from their playing opponent. Yes, now the only rule that stood was you are not to cause your partner or your playing opponent any harm. Now guys, in as much as the rules were simple, it was also very, very tricky and dicey because someone has 10 marbles in their possession, you also have 10 marbles. So how are you going to get those marbles off your opponent? Guys, it was a very, very tricky situation. So each of the players, they were looking for different ways on how to go around it. But then what really got me in this particular game was how Ji-hoon's childhood friend, player 212, betrayed player 199. Player 199 is the most loyal team player anybody can ask for in that series. Guys, he proved himself to be a good friend. He proved himself to be very, very loyal. But then, out of desperation, and of course because it is a game at the end of the day, you know, you don't want to die, so it's either you allow yourself to be killed or you play your game right and let the other person be killed. So at some point I was very, very upset with player 212, yes, but then there was nothing I could do about it because the truth is, if he had not done what he did, he would have ended up being killed. But then guys, the way he betrayed player 199, it was so painful. I literally cried. I cried. Now, that was the same game that saw the old man player 001 killed. Now, guys, I don't want to give you any spoilers if you haven't watched the series, but it was sort of like an artificial death. Yes, that was also the first time that I saw player 456 cheat his opposing player. Yes, I mean, the old man is his best friend on the series. They're very, very good friend, and he has always tried his best to look after the old man. But then for that particular game, he did not really have a lot of choices. It was either he played the game right, got all of the old man's 10 marbles, or he allowed himself to get killed. And somehow, he also showed that the old man kind of liked him for his loyalty, for his consistent loyalty, and also for his story. So what happened was the old man allowed himself to get cheated, to allow himself to get played, because initially the old man was actually the one that almost got all of Ji-hoon's marbles. But then he realized that, okay, since he is the creator of the game, or if he continued playing that way, then Ji-hoon would definitely get killed. And I kind of feel like he saw some potential in Ji-hoon, so he allowed himself to get played, to get won, and that was how his artificial death happened. Now, the glass bridge game. You see that game? There is no way to know how to win that game, period. If you're not a professional glass handler, if you're not a professional glass creator, if you're not a professional at knowing every single thing that had to do with glasses, tapered glass, original glass, trust me, there was no way anybody could have actually won that particular game. So what saved the remaining players was that particular man that had many years, I think he had over 20 years of experience working in a glass factory. That was the only thing that actually saved the remaining players. But then guys, they wouldn't have actually gone further if Ji-hoon's childhood friend had once again not betrayed that man. And of course guys, I wanted to blame him, but then I could not really blame him, because once again, the rules of, oh, it's either you allow someone to get killed or you get killed, it also came into play. And so he had to use the man to push the man on one of the glasses for them to actually find out which glass was actually the stronger glass. So you know what, you guys need to watch this series, because it's gonna mess up with your emotions. Now moving on to the final game, Squid Game. To be very frank with you guys, I can't even analyze this one because I do not really understand the game. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, most of these games, only Tug of War I have actually seen played in Nigeria. Yes, I am Nigerian. That's the only game I've actually seen played in Nigeria. The rest of the games, guys, I don't even know how it works. So that particular game is a typical, should I say, Korean game? Yes. So it is only people who are probably Asians that would really understand how the game works and how the game is played. So if you really understand how Squid Game is played for real, please let me know in the comment section below. I particularly would love to learn more about that game. But that was actually the game that created a defining moment. Yes, the moment of truth, who the real winner will emerge. And that was how Ji-hoon played the game, as he and his childhood friend were the last players standing. And guys, at the end of the game, only one winner should emerge. So I don't know about you, but all the games were quite exhilarating, quite scary, but interesting. So I would urge all of you to go ahead and watch Squid Game, yes, on Netflix, and then come back and let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. So I'll see you all on another episode of Frankly Speaking with Glory Elijah. Have an amazing day. Bye.